Good day, this is video 8 in a series of videos on lesson planning. In this video, I want to talk to you about the importance of activating prior knowledge at the beginning of the lesson. We all know that when you walk into a classroom, the teacher will start off with an introduction or ask a few questions that students know the answer to, and that you think sometimes, why do they do it? So there are a few reasons why we test prior knowledge. The first one is to activate learning. We want to show students that you might already know something about this content, and we would just like to remind you of what you know so that you are sort of on the right page. It's also important for a teacher to activate prior knowledge and to test prior knowledge to see where the students are. By asking a few questions, you will assess what they have already learned. Do they know what you assume that they know? It is also important to ask questions about prior knowledge to just recap what has been done, to sort of revise what has been done, and to create the scene, to create the context for the new teaching that is now going to occur. So testing prior knowledge is like building a bridge. We are going to now lay the foundation between what you already know and the new knowledge that I want you to learn. And it also boosts confidence. If you start off a lesson and you ask a few questions that the students know the answers to, then they feel confident enough. And if you in your head go back to the concept of the zone of proximal learning, we take them from their comfort zone and we push them into that yellow zone, which is the challenging zone. The important thing to remember in your mind when you think about prior knowledge is the following. It's all about opening the right file in the mind of a learner. So a student's brain is like a computer's file explorer. You have files, and in the files you have files, and in the files you have folders, and the folders have files in them, and it's a massive organization. So let's assume that I am the grade 7 teacher. I teach English. And my class comes in right after they have been to the maths class. If we assume that every learner's brain is also a file explorer, it will mean that the maths file is currently open in that learner's brain because they've been working in the maths class for the past 30 minutes. If I just jump in with my English literature lesson, then they will store that information that I teach them now in their maths file. And that's not the place where we want them to store it. So activating prior knowledge is aimed at opening the right file. So they will come in and we will ask a few questions to help them to close the maths box in their brain and open the English file, so that what I teach them is stored in the English file. We so often hear children say that I drew a blank in the exam, or the answer was at the tip of my tongue, I just couldn't get to it. The reason is that learner stored that information in the wrong file. So it is somewhere in their brain, but they don't know where to go and look for it. If they were thinking about the Pirates game this afternoon, they are going to be storing the information that you are teaching them in the Pirates folder in their brain and not in the English literature folder. So prior knowledge helps you to help the learner to open the correct file once they get into your class. And we need to give them a little bit of time to do that. When you think about the questions that you're going to ask when you test prior knowledge, be very careful that you don't give away your whole lesson. And if the students can answer all the prior knowledge questions, and that is what you were supposed to teach them, then your lesson is not going to be worth anything. So prior knowledge must be a step back. What is the content that students should already know? Don't ask them questions about the content you are going to teach them in this lesson. That's going to be the new material. We just want to assess what they already know, and we want to open the right file in their brain.